Hi there, we've started configuring these Ruckus devices which we sell to use with SpeedQuizzing Pro slightly differently. If you purchased one in the last half of 2024 from us, it's probably configured differently to if you'd bought one previous to that. So this video will be informative to people who've bought one recently and people who bought one before, because what I'm also going to do is show you how to reconfigure the older ones to make them the same as the newer ones if you want to, and I'll explain why you might or you might not want to. So how do you get to see the interface? Well, first make sure you've got it connected properly, and the best way to do that would be if you're using SpeedQuizzing Pro version 4, as we've got here, you'll see that there's a pin at the top. That tells you that it's connected properly. If you're using SpeedQuizzing Pro version 5, the way to tell if it's connected properly is that router icon there should be blue. Now when I say connected properly, it could be connected via an Ethernet cable or it could be connected to the Quiz Wi-Fi. But for the purpose of this, if you can connect via cable, I definitely would do, because you are changing the settings, and they always recommend that you use a cable when you're changing settings. Once it's connected properly, you type an IP address into a web browser, 192.167.226.1. Okay, it needs to be exactly that, into a web browser, and hit return, which just brings me straight to the Ruckus login page. You may have some obstacles on the way. Certain browsers say that it's a dangerous website. It's not even a website. So it might say it's an advanced feature, or it might say exercise caution. And then when you get to this page, if you haven't already changed the username and password for the Ruckus device, it will be ROOT, all little letters, root, and it'll be quizzing, QUIZZING. And this should take you to this page. Now make sure you do this on a laptop. There's no point trying to do it on a phone or anything, because you do need to see what's going on. So I'm going to click the second one down, Wi-Fi networks, and you'll see there I've got Quiz and Quiz 2. So that tells me that it's one of the later ones, the new way we've configured it. So these are the Wi-Fi names that people will see in their phones when you're telling them to connect to the quiz. They'll see Quiz and they'll see Quiz 2. It's very straightforward with this configuration. You literally say to people, connect to one of the Quiz Wi-Fis, connect to Quiz or Quiz 2. And that's all they need to know, the players. If you want me to get geeky, I'll explain it. If I double click the one called Quiz and I click Advanced Options, Radio Control, you can see there it says 5 GHz only. If I click on the one called Quiz 2 and do exactly the same, Advanced Options, Radio Control, you'll see it says 2.4 GHz only. So what I really like about this is the flexibility and the simplicity. 99 times out of 100, any team will be able to connect to either of them and they'll both work perfectly well. But on the rare occasion that someone does appear to be having a problem, you can say to them, well, if you're on Quiz, try Quiz 2. If you're on Quiz 2, try Quiz. And if someone's got a problematic phone which won't connect to one, the chances are it'll connect to the other. So if you've got this configuration, Quiz and Quiz 2, then you probably don't need to watch this video any further. If you've got the older configuration, which I will explain why you might want to, and if you do want to, how to change the configuration to the new way, as we can see here. So I'm going to jump to the old configuration. You can see there it says Quiz and Q2G and Q5G. Now if you've been using this, you may not have even noticed that there's a Q2G and a Q5G. You'll have only noticed that there's Quiz, and it's worked perfectly well. So if I double click on Quiz this time and I go in the same settings, Show Advanced Options, Radio Control, it's not configured to work on 2.4 or 5, it's configured to work on all radios. All that means is the technology makes the decision for you and for the players which one to connect to, either 2.4 or 5. And 99% of the time that's going to work fine. But my thinking is, what if it doesn't? What if it would be working better if it was connected to the other one than what it's automatically connected to? I will explain what these two are. So if I click on Q2G, you'll notice that that one is configured to work with 2.4, and the other one, Q5G, would be connected to work with 5 only. But what you'll notice, we'd put a password on these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, to prevent players from connecting to them by mistake. That meant that they were there if you, as the host, did want to try them for whatever reason, if you were testing or in an emergency. But it does seem a little bit more geeky that you would need to tell them to connect to one of them and put the password in. So horses for courses, really. You might want to leave well alone and not change it. But if you do want to change it to the new way, it's not difficult. I'll show you what you need to do. So I could do this a slightly quicker way if I knew everyone was going to be connected via a cable, but because some people might be connected via Wi-Fi, I will do it a slightly more long-winded way. So the first thing I'm going to do is disable these two, Q2G and Q5G. I could just as easily click the delete button and delete them, but for now I'm just going to disable them. So I'll click on that, disable, click on that one, disable. You can see it says disabled, so they're no longer show as Wi-Fi options. Which leaves Quiz. I'm now going to click Create. And I'm going to create a new one called Quiz 2. I'm going to click on Show Advanced Options and go Radio Control. I'm going to make sure that I set that to 2.4 gigahertz only. Make sure you get this right and click OK. You can see down there now I've got Quiz 2 and I've got Quiz. Now all I need to do is go into the one called Quiz, but there's a good reason why I'm leaving this till the last one, because if you're connected to this Quiz Wi-Fi rather than via a cable, you will lose connection momentarily. So that's why I've left it to the last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to double click on Quiz, and where it says All Radios, I'm going to change that to 5 gigahertz and click OK. Done. That's it, it's configured to the new way. You've got two Wi-Fi networks, you've got one called Quiz, one called Quiz 2. Behind the scenes we know that this one's connected to 5, this one's connected to 2.4. You do now have the option of deleting these if you want. If I do that, delete, OK, delete, OK, tidies things up. One last extra step is the password we use to log in. If it's still set to root and quizzing, you should really change it, but I can't stress enough how much you must write this password down and never lose it, because unlike similar devices where you can use the little button on the side to reset the device and start again, you can't do that on these because you will lose all of our settings. So if you're going to change this, make sure you write it down, but you should change it because it does mean someone could come to your quiz if they know the password and make a mess of things. So I'm clicking on administration and we can see there it says root, current password, new password, confirm new password. I can change the admin name as well if I want, but again you must write this down, you can't afford to lose it. Okay, so and then I've got to put the current password in, which is quizzing. Then I'm going to put my new password in there, confirm the password, click apply, write it down, don't lose it. Okay, thanks for watching.